Yo, Shalom Yasharala, Yabaraka Kum Yahweh Basham Mashak Yahweh. I can take these off for now. Whew, but when I tell you I need them, I need them. It's a whole new world. Man. So anywho, so first I want to start off with saying, may the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And as my elder taught me a long time ago, we should more really be pronouncing Yahweh Shi, Yahweh Shi. A lot of us are still saying Yahweh Shai because of indoctrination, but it's time to start pronouncing things, more specifically. And I want to say, man, big shout out, to that brother Zion Lex, man, who's been helping to turn the minds of the children of Israel and the Gentiles in the world, to think more. And I think that's what's up, man. And the Most High is using the brothers on a beautiful way. On a beautiful platform and in a mighty way to encourage people to investigate, to think. All right, so I'm going to be here for I'm oh, so and back to it. So as I'm speaking, for those of you who know me, I say what I say, but I don't mean any harm. So I am learning how. I seen a really good thing that Zion Legs said on his video. He said, he's getting older. As he gets older, he's got to learn how to say things differently. You don't got time to come to the clown show and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. So, so I'm gonna be more mindful also and stuff like that because that brother did an excellent job at encouraging that. So I want to find the video, but I don't know where it is right now. Who was the last person? I ain't watched it. I messaged from Amos. Amos talking about, hey, Ak is really the third thing. That brother, he's cold with the numbers. Anywho, man, I don't see that video. Let me see if I can find over here. All right. Let's see if we can find over here. Let's do a screen share and let's do a tab. Let's pick LashaWan Qadash. Learn how to speak ancient Hebrew grammar 101. We're going to start right here. And the reason why we're going to start right here is because, I've seen, the Zion Lex video. I'm just going to jump straight to it, man. I recently seen the Zion Lex video. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was great. I'm saying? I definitely learned some stuff. Because it's impossible to, listen to, a brother like that that's so studious and so diligent, in his ministry, and not learn, what I'm saying? So I definitely learned, and I had a great time. I didn't agree with everything. And I think that's everybody's right to be able to say, what I'm saying, which, no hard feelings on anybody's platform, but the things that I didn't agree with, they weren't so, tremendous to where it's like, oh well, the brother's video is just, trash. I ain't saying that. I'm saying that, the things that I took away is saying, they weren't so bad that nobody can walk away and say the brother's video is trash because they can't. I'm saying? The brother, he articulates his word very well. His words very well, I'm saying? You can tell he's very studious and, he knows what he's talking about. So salute to brother Zion Lex. One was salute. All right, so I want to introduce everybody to Qwadash. All right, so before, a lot of us came into the truth, before a lot of us was born, this was an elder that was already teaching. And some, may not know of him, but you definitely heard of his works. All right, so Qwadash, he is one of the most patient. Right now, all praise the Most High, he's resting with his fathers. Hallelujah. Thank you for your ministry, Zaquan. He's such a humble man, man. And his rib, she was so beautiful, made beautiful garments. His family, his son, he was so educated, too. So, but back to it. So this was an elder that I set up under. So some people might say, well, you never learned from somebody, you never went to a school, you never went to an academy. Well, that's not true. A lot of Yasharalium have not had the privileged opportunity to have, even a basic education. And we can't forget this because of the condition of us being in the curses. We can't forget this because of, the Deuteronomy 28, verse 50, chapter 28, verse 54. I shall be evil against the wife of his bosom and towards the remnant of his children. I shall be evil towards his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and the remnant of his children. which he shall leave. We can't forget about that. That, you know, a lot of our people didn't have the opportunity to come into those zones. Like me, I'm gonna tell everybody right now, I have like a ninth grade. I have a ninth grade education. You know what I'm saying? But that's in the, it's in the, you know what I'm saying, the school system. You know, in which we know the school system is the prison to the pipeline system. You know what I'm saying? So I had the privilege of being able to live through that curse, and the Most High, you know, refining me and giving me experiences in different places that other people may not have experiences in. Okay, so that's a blessing also, because all of our walks are differently. So I'm not here to to in any way shame anybody in you know what little they know or how much, you know. So I'm so sorry, you know, in my past, you know, for being like that, because I have spoken things sometimes and I was like, you know, that was, you know, and I'm, you know, I was bogus. So luckily, let me say that I was straight up bogus, man. So I apologize, and you know, I don't want to display that. So if I do get into that, you know what I'm saying, just tell me to dial it back some. You know what I'm saying? Just tell me to dial it back some, and I'll work on it, man. So let's get to it real quick. All right. So I want to start with this. If you haven't learned Zaquan Qadash, here is an introductory of his video. All right. Now I'm going to take this library and I'm going to copy and I'm going to share and copy this entire library. You know, and I'm going to do it for the sake of you being able to have it, you being able to come back to look at it, you being able to say, "Oh, okay, well, hey, I'm at least familiar." Okay, so I'm going to press pause on my end for a minute. I'm going to take time to share out my own video, and while I do that, you know, hopefully invite some friends and families in, and I want to show y'all something different, something new. All right, just 1 minute. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Let's see what the Zaquan had to say.
It for you right now. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46.
If you need to, Matthew 27:46, I believe. If you need to, you know, don't be ashamed, don't be, you know, shy to go back. I want you all to notice something. This is an old video. I think this was VHS time frames.
And it says, about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my power, why hast thou forsaken me? Now I'm going to write this here on the board. Okay, this is how it's written. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Now, we all know that there's no E in the Hebrew. But you notice the sounds. You have the I sound, the La, the Ah sound, the Ma, the Sa, the Ba. And this last letter here is Ha. We're going to go over these different sounds, but these are basic ideas as to the pronunciation of the ancient language. Tha, Nai, with the I sound. So the basic, as you can see, is the Ah sound and the I sound. So now we're going to go over the basic Hebrew letters so we can get some understanding to it. Now, in the previous class I did a few months ago, matter of fact, many months ago, I broke down, through the grace of the Most High, the root, the origin of the Hebrew letters, the meanings, the original roots. But now we're going to get into the actual lesson as to how to pronounce them, how to speak it, how to write the ancient Hebrew, how to read it.
Now, real quick, I hope you all heard that the Zaquan, like he said many months ago, he went into the origin of how it came about. Now he's going to go into how to teach us how to read it. I hope that caught some of your interest. There's so much more I'm going to go into, and I'm going to let him play because there's more I want you to hear. But I also want to give this video time to warm up. It's the Shabbat, going into the Shabbat, and I want to send it out to a few friends and families too. All right, so let's see what he says.
and how to make your own sentences, how to make up your own prayers when you pray to the Most High. So the first letter that we're going to go over is the A. This is the first letter of the alphabet. And like I said earlier, Hebrew has 22 characters. When you read Hebrew, it's not like English. Hebrew is read from the right to the left. Hebrew, just like any language, has grammatical rules to it. It has nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and all these past tense, present tense, all these different rules in Hebrew we're going to learn as the classes go on. But today we're going to basically learn the alphabet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you, the viewer, while you're watching this, I want you to pronounce it with me. At the end of class, I'm going to give you some homework so you can practice, so that the next class that I put up, I'll be giving out quizzes, which you can go to the website, hodc12.info. I'm going to put all that information up later on. You can go to the website where you'll be able to download homework and different quizzes and tests that I'm going to give over here online. So that's going to come later on. But today, we're going to learn the alphabet. Here's the first letter, A. So I want you to pronounce that with me as I say A. Pronounce it, A. A. A is the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. Now, most letters in the different languages that's out there today come from the ancient Hebrew. English is one of the basic languages that basically everyone speaks today. But the English language, as we're going to see, English, the letters, most of the letters, they get from the ancient Hebrew alphabet. Like I showed you the A. What's the first letter in the English alphabet? A.
Crazy about that.
Notice the similarity between the letter A.
You know, let me say this real quick. So as I was on with one of our brothers, what is his name? Brother Freedom. I was gonna say Brother Free, but as I was on one of our brothers, Free, he's explaining to me, you know, how the English language, you know, is, you know, exactly. I'd have to let him explain it, you know, to his caliber, and I don't want to misquote the brother, but as we were driving, he was pointing out every word in English and saying, all of this is Hebrew, man. Look at it, man. It's Obar. It's Obar. You know, all of this. And so there's so many different talks in the language department, the LashaWan, Qwadash department, you know, whatever people want to call it. You know, all of those ones are there. I think that the majority of us are to a point to where we know what somebody's talking about when they say it. Like, I know what you're talking about. So now sometimes it's needed because you'll say something like biblical Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? Or you'll say something like, you know, the Hebrew spoken in the Bible, or the Hebrew written in the Bible, or biblical Hebrew. Well, that's kind of like a trick phrase because those are grammatical rules for biblical Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? Or those are sounds that pertain to biblical Hebrew because biblical Hebrew is not the same as what's called Abjed Hebrew, or it's not the same as Paleo Hebrew as we know it, as we call it, or LashaWan Qadash. And some people, even in the modern form, they call it LashaWan Qadash. All right, Shalom, I'm for being patient. I'm doing that a mass share. All right, so I started this video a minute ago. If you can, go out, come back in, but I'm going to be rocking for a minute because I got some stuff that I want to show you. Now, this elder right here, his name is Qwadash. He passed away a while back. The Most High took him back. And Qwadash was one of the ones who was first that I know in our generation that was teaching this language that we speak today, as the modernists pronounce LashaWan Qadash, or they might even have other pronunciations, but I'm gonna be simple because I'm a simpleton, right? So I'm gonna say LashaWan Qadash or LashaWan Qwadash as we speak it. So the Qwadash Ta'ala was he's been here. Look, this video is over 12 years old. You see this? Can y'all see it on my screen? It's over 12 years old. You see what I'm saying? And wait, let me say, that's just when it was posted. It might have been longer than that, because this one right here, I don't know. Yeah, 12, yeah, 50K. All right, but it's the jewels that's like this that people miss out on because they're looking at the lights, they're looking at the glitz, they're looking at the glamour, they're looking at the corner store. You know what I'm saying? Like when you ride past the corner stores in the hood and they have the neon lights and stuff up like that, those are the things that catches people's attention. And I understand that, you know what I'm saying? I understand that we're very vain people. We're very shallow people. You know what I'm saying? So this video didn't have the glitz, it didn't have the glamour, but it has all the jewels in it. All right. So I'm gonna play this segment, but I also want to show you all this. We're going somewhere. All right, we're going somewhere. All right. What are Abjed spoken languages? All right, we're going somewhere. What are the difference between it's supposed to be perfect Abjed and impure Abjed. All right, we're going somewhere. Here's LashaWan Qwadash, all right, spoken as an Abjed language before vowels. The point of saying such as to say is that we're going somewhere, all right? Oxford reference, all right, boom, we're going somewhere. All right, now these are small things, all right? We're going somewhere. Welcome to my Facebook. Look what conversation that I'm in, right? Check this out, Vernon Smart's post. We're going somewhere, all right? So after a while, I'll tell you, thank you everybody for being patient. Now, again, and I said this earlier, I don't look, I ain't against nobody at this point in my life, man. I ain't got enough smoke to be against nobody at this point in my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm the least of all the priests. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of you brothers, man, y'all know so much. I'm really grateful that, you even allow me to be in a room with you brothers, man, because, I know what it's like to be ostracized. You know what I'm saying? So I've never been one to really ostracize people unless they really mess with me bad, because I hate bullies. But I know what it's like to be exiled, ostracized. So I try to accept everybody I can as long as they come correct. You know what I'm saying? So, point of saying such is to say, when we're looking at this is a conversation that we had earlier. You know what I'm saying? This is something somebody else asked. Can somebody direct me to a complete list of OT? Now look at this, everybody. His question was, can someone please direct me to a complete list of OT diphthongs, please? Now, this came up because I love the phrase diphthongs, and ever since the brother Zion Lex was like, no place for diphthongs in LashaWan Qadash. Let me tell everybody, listen, if you're watching this, so what? So what? Diphthongs are recent. LashaWan Qadash, spoken as an Abjed language without vowels, and only two specific ones that we mentioned, which is the first and the 16th. And I.e., first and 16th didn't need to have diphthongs. So if a person is trying to nail or hammer that point in on why something isn't valid, that's like saying that, let's say because I'm not going to do that. So with that being said, LashaWan Qadash didn't need and doesn't need diphthongs. And it's okay that they are there. They are there. Zion Lex said something that was incorrect. And that's okay. We all do. He said a diphthong, and I think he caught it, and I don't think there's a way to go back and fix it. But let me help you all. A diphthong is made when there's two vowels that's connected, not when there's a, it doesn't matter. So whenever you're going through LashaWan Qadash, and his point was to say there's no places in the LashaWan Qadash or Paleo Hebrew where the alap and the ayan two characters are together. And I'm like, how could you say that? But I just was like, that's a great point. I guess. Let me explain if you don't get it. One of his validating points to say that the language that we love and that we speak, which is something that's been given back to us, and even the Most High is going to give us a greater language, all right? Something that's been hidden from us. When Yahweh comes back, he's going to give us, Yahweh Shai. When our King comes back, we're going to have a greater language, all right? But there's also scriptures that says that one would surname himself by the name Jacob and ascribe himself by the name Israel. King Solomon said, be ignorant of no thing All right. Um, our surnames when getting off them slave ships was Israel, was Benjamin, was etc. You know, and so on and so forth. So to get back to it, to say that diphthongs don't exist in LashaWan Qadash or Paleo Hebrew is not a validating point on why a language, shouldn't be considered such. Just say you don't like it. Just say you don't like it. Just say you prefer modern and you don't like it when people call modern Yiddish. So what? Yiddish is a pronunciation of, great job. Just say you don't like it. But to try to tear down something that's there, and then I don't like omitting information. All right, I don't like fake. I don't like fake stuff. All right, so let's look at this real quick. All right, so let's share this instead. All right, 2.8 diphthongs. All right, Hebrew vowels, diphthong vowels. Now, diphthong is a cluster of combination of vowels acting as a unit of producing a unique sound. From the point of view of the world division, diphthong represents a distinct syllable in Hebrew. The most common diphthongs listed are. So now, here's my point. Let's look at this real quick. For anybody that doesn't really know or deal with, the iBody, I want to just tell you to use your imagination for a second. Let's look at this. Let's look at any of them. All right, this little point right here. For those who don't understand Hebrew, this is the Yah. All right, you know what I'm saying? Vav. We say Yah. All right, like Yahweh, right? The first character, like a hand reaching upward, right? So this character right here, I'm gonna pronounce LashaWan Qwadash, Yah, right? All right, this Yah might look like this little T symbol with the two dots, but it's not. This Yah is actually Hebrew character, right? And just rock with me once away. This little bitty dot, little bitty period might look like, but it's not. These distinct markers, and I think all of you over time by looking at it will start to be able to see these dots and these dashes. You'll start to be able to distinguish them and not get it mixed up with the Yah, 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 Yah. All right, not the Wah, right? The Yah. All right, not get it mixed up with the Yah. Over time, after you start to see these, you'll start to realize what these are. These are the vowel markers that our brother Zion Lex is so, vigorously defending, you know what I'm saying? And nobody's against the vowel markers. What we're against is saying that LashaWan Qwadash is not a real language because later on, white people came, put in their own markers. That's what we're against. All right. We're against saying that LashaWan Qwadash or Paleo Hebrew is not a real language because later on Edomites became, Edomites came and put their own pronunciations on the language that was already there. Now, Zion Lex also put out there that these sounds, these vowels are already there because they can be found in this language, they can be found in that language. I'm not here to tear down what the brother put up, not at all. I'm just saying that, I like to show other perspectives. So here's the thing with the diphthongs. Again, hear my point. Here was my whole point. Dealing with LashaWan Qwadash and Paleo Hebrew, yes, the brother says something incorrect in the video, but it's a small thing. I say a bunch of things incorrect. The scripture says it's one that slippeth at the mouth, but not at the heart. So the point of saying that is to say what? Whenever you're looking at diphthongs, it is not a consonant sound. It's whenever you take two vowels together, okay? Take two vowels, put them together, it's considered to be a diphthong, just that easy. A really quick YouTube search will help you out. I want to stay on point. Within the LashaWan Qwadash or the so-called Paleo Hebrew language, all you do is just pronounce the original sounds without the vowel points. And that's just easy. That's not a new language. That's not something that was made up. That's not something that One West made up. Okay? It's not. This is a very quick, easy overview. Abjed language, right? Primarily Semitic tongues. I like terminology. I like words. I like to know things. Knowing things makes me happy. All right. Knowing things makes me happy. Not sharing things really bothers me. I like to share. I was taught to share. All right. So let me show you this real quick. This is an example of an Abjed writing. All right. This is an example of an Abjed language that's been found. All right. If you look at it, you might recognize it. And sometimes what you got to do is take these images and you have to flip them upside down and right side up. All right. Sometimes, hey, shalom. All right. So salute to everybody that's watching right now. You know what I'm saying? I pray you all have a blessed Shabbat. Please take time and share this out. I will be defending on the LashaWan Qwadash and Abjed principles. Reason being is a lot of people don't know, and sometimes we're overlooked, or sometimes our feelings are hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because we're just taught wrong, or we're taught differently. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's a good thing if you're taught differently. I think it's a good thing. Not everybody is the same. Everybody learns differently. All right. So, all right, froze up for a second. All right. So this will be an example of an Abjed or an Abjad language. All right. So when you're thinking about Abjad or Abjad language, let me read this to you. All right. I like people to know things. All right. Now look at this. An Abjad language are primarily Shemitic tongues like Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Now let me stop you right there. Paleo Hebrew, the sounds are Abba Gada Hawa Zachata Ya Kalamanasa Ai Padza Qwadash. Just like Yahweh she, like your I, we should be saying E. So we E more so. So let me give you an example of what's called in an Abjad language. Arabic. Shalom alaikum. When Zion Lex did his video, and he was talking about his excellent points, right? Diphthongs was the funniest part to me. The diphthong part was the funniest part. Now, the scripture says to hear the whole matter. I did watch the entire video. I'm having a hard time finding it right now. If anybody knows what that video is, can you share it? All right, then I'll be able to, pull up that part. But the diphthong part was so funny to me, and not just like in a hilarious haha, but it was funny, like, oh, that's what's up. That's a good point to start at. That's a good place to start. So if you don't know about that, it's just a grammatical rule. A diphthong is just a grammatical rule. All right. But you go back and watch the video for yourself. You'll be able to decipher and see what was said correct, incorrect. So maybe they can edit it out. Maybe you'll come back and be like, you know what? I messed up. This is what it really is. And that's what I like about Zion Lex, is because one, salute to the brother, because he's come to Christ. All praise y'all. He's like the the apostle, Paul, man. You know what I'm saying? The apostle Saul becoming Paul, man. So all praise, man. All right, so and for many others that's coming to Mashiach, man. Our brother's really brave in that way, man, in a lot of other ways, So let's look at this real quick, and it's very important for everybody to notice. That's why I said the title of this video is an Abjad thing. All right, Abjad languages are primarily Shemitic tongues like Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Plus others using their scripts, which are writing systems that mainly shows consonants. All right, that mainly shows consonants. And this is what, and I love the milk of the word. I love the milk of the Most High, because he gives us these simple things and they help us out so much. All right, consonant speech sounds made partially by fully blocking airflow or the vocal tract. All right, let's look at this real quick. I like people to know things. I'm a baby, right? All right, so mouth, tongue, teeth, or lips. These are consonants, right? Represented by letters like ba, ka, da, f, all right, fa, ga, g, right, etc. Which form syllables with vowels a, I, o, u, right? In English, all letters except a, I, o, u are. Wait a minute. In English, all letters except a, e, I, o, u are consonants, though Y and sometimes W and H can act as vowels. That's fair. So you telling me the sounds that are not in the LashaWan Qwadash, the sounds that are not in the Paleo Hebrew that this Zaquan Qadash, and many other elders have been teaching is actually correct? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. Let's go through it real quick. Just entertain me. What if the internet is here for our understanding? We be able to use it, right? All right. Etymology. The name Abjed is based on the Arabic alphabets. All right. Boom. Arabic alphabets. All right. Shalom. All right. Which is so funny because shalom is nothing but shalom. Shalom alaikum. Shalom lakam. Shalom alaikum. Shalom lakam. Arabic ain't nothing but curse of LashaWan Qwadash, Paleo Hebrew. Ishmael was the son of Abraham. Ishmael didn't speak Arabic. Ishmael spoke Paleo-Hebrew, which was the language his father Abraham spoke, which was the language that his father spoke. The name Abjed is based on the Arabic alphabet, first 4 letters in their original alphabetical order, corresponding to A, Ba, and J. What would J be in ancient times? Would that be Ya or La? Yeah. And D, Da. Sounds like consonants, don't it? Reflects the alphabetical order Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, A, Ba, Ga, Da. In order, in other constellational Semitic scripts such as Phoenician Hebrew and other Semitic proto-alphabets classified within the family of scripts used to write West Semitic languages. All right, so let me give you an example of another language. Hindi. Hindi is an Abjed language. Paleo-Hebrew, Abjed language. Arabic, and Abjed language. You know what's not an Abjed language? Shalom. Shalom. Oy vey. That's not Abjed. That's modern Hebrew. That's biblical Hebrew. I have no. Bring it back down. That brother Zion Lex, man, his presentation was so beautiful, man. And I seen it probably like 4 weeks, too late. And no, right on time. And I seen that there's been so many other beautiful teachings that's been going on all throughout Yasharal. And I apologize, news comes slow on the island of Patmos. What is a pure Abjed? Remember, it's an Abjed thing. Definition: an Abjed that includes characters for some vowels, often long vowels, uses optional vowels diacritics, or uses specific consonant letters to represent vowel sounds, a practice known as metres lectiones. Now, I can't stand the way that these people be wording stuff. Sometimes you don't got to go all the way around the block. Never mind. Let me show you all something. All right. Look at this. Now, we could do the Latin, we could do the English, I just want to show you all really simply. When people use these phrases, but they don't really break down to you what they mean, that means they really don't want you to know. And I'm not saying that's how everybody teach. I'm just saying that that's what I recognize. I am a special ed student. I passed as long as I didn't hit nobody. If I can make it through the end of the day without getting into a fight, I got a good grade. Somebody say amen. Oh, you did good today? Oh, you didn't get a fight? Oh, come on. So there's so many people that are so much more brilliant than me. The only reason the point of saying that to say is metres lectiones, Latin. Look, it means mothers of reading. So I call it mother's helpers. So don't trip if I say it. So it's mother's helpers, but it's mothers of reading. Specific consonant letters like ya, wa, ha, and ah in Hebrew, used in Semitic scripts to indicate vowel sounds. And I encourage everybody, brush up on all your diacritic rules and your linguistic rules. Brush up on all of that because we need it. All right, I need it. We all need it. And some stuff, other people excelled at in school, but I'm pretty sure that you being an adult now, you don't have to wait for your school teacher and raise your hand and say, Miss Green, will you give me the answer? I don't get it. While Tommy Johnson over there is flying because, his mother and his father, put a different path before him, maybe, you grew up different. You didn't have that path. So you can still learn it today, those of you who are trying. All right. So go back and learn just the simple rules and you'll get it in your adulthood. All right. A system developed to clarify pronunciation in text, especially sacred ones. As spoken language evolved, I'm not even going to get into that. The point of saying that is to say that the vowel markers are literally called mother's reading or mother's helpers to let people know when to say, to let people know how to pronounce their vowels on top of Paleo Hebrew. That's all it is. Look, here. Nakud vowel points. Hebrew Nekud vowel markers. You keep saying naked. I'm not saying Nekud. All right, here. Yeah, just Nekud. All right. Thank you. All right, Thawada. All right, Hebrew Nekud. Hebrew Nekud. Nakawad. All right. I'm going to pronounce LashaWan Qwadash. Now, could we say the modern? Yes. I just prefer not to unless I really have to, and I don't have to. And you're not going to make me. Who tells people? Are diacritical vowel markers, dots and lines placed above or below or inside Hebrew letters to indicate sounds. That's what those are. So when you see these and people, I can't stand. I think you a poor teacher if you leave students behind. So when you all are learning Hebrew, and so many of you have a zeal to learn Hebrew, so many of you have a passion to learn it, and that's why brothers like me direct you to these videos, to Zaquan Qadash honor. I say honor. Zaquan Qadash Allah, the Most High, bless his memory. It was an honor to know him. I direct you to him because his videos are true, they're basic, and they teach at every level of child to college. Some people are coming from college level, trying to make other people look unlearned or uneducated. When Christ said, "Least ye come as babes, ye shall not inherit the kingdom." I ain't cut like that. I come from the no child left behind mentality. All right. Come on, come laba. So subject point is saying, hey, Shalom, Yasharal in India, yeah. Hey, and this is where we need you at. We need you so much. All right. The only thing I regret is that our time frames differ. That's the only thing I regret. All right. I'm so far away from you. Shalom, Adawan. Yeah, but all right. Shalom, twin. Love you, twin. Love you, twin. Shalom, elder. So here's the thing about it. Now, yeah, we need you so much, man. Amen, amen. I'm not. So the LashaWan Qwadash that we're speaking today, it's not just a language that was made up by a group of people that's at a school, because someone may say that, and if they say that, then other people may become discouraged from learning. And King Solomon said, "Be ignorant of no thing." Okay. Now listen, these right here, Nakuds, these dalits, these vowel markers, these are the AEIOUs, the vowels that are in modern Hebrew. So when you see watch this. What is biblical Hebrew? When you see biblical Hebrew, now I know some will say, well, you can see these vowel markers back in these texts and these time frames from these days. And yes, you very well may be able to. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. But this is what I do know, that these markers that they were put in after the time frame that vowels existed. All right. So you had to come up with the vowel. So what I like to do is, I heard a brother say this, reverse engineer. You got to reverse engineer language. You have to reverse engineer it, go backwards, see what it actually says and what does it mean. All right. So let's look at this real quick. The matrix lecciones is nothing more than mother's helper Hebrew. All right. It's mother's assistant Hebrew. Is to help people to learn how to pronounce the vowel points. And before the vowel points was there, you had to go with what the original sounds were. Okay. So let me close that window down. Let's go back to this window over here real quick. And we're going to share this. All right. Let's go to our next screen share. Now, this is real quick and easy. Look at this. The name Abjed is based on the Arabic letters or alphabet, first four letters, original alphabetic order corresponding to Abba, J, right, and the Da, Abjad, right, which reflects the alphabetical order Abba, Ga, Da in their consonants of Semitic script, such as Phoenician, Hebrew, and other Semitic proto-alphabet classified with the family of scripts used to write the West Shemitic languages. Here's an example of Abjed, all right? And why? Because you don't see the vowel points. You don't see the I don't want to call it the, anytime you see a Paleo Hebrew and it don't have the vowel markers, that tells you that we were speaking consonants. We were speaking the sounds that were there. We didn't wait for anybody to come along and say, no, you gotta say oi. Not at all. Not at all. That wasn't the case. We already had friends, we already had family members. The institution of writing well existed before these vowel points. All right. Now, if you ever get a chance, I want you to get this book right here.
No.
No? Are you sleeping? You get one bed? You want to go potty?
No.
I would like it if you tried. You want to try?
No.
You see what I would. Okay, so I would encourage everybody to get this book right here. All right, this book is Isidore Seville's Etymologies. All right, this will help you get a lot of understanding on topics that you may, be looking up. All right, he gives a great breakdown on so many different world topics, and one of them are dialect and communication, etc. So, if you like to know things, this book is wonderful. All right, it's just not one thing. This book is phenomenal. All right, I can go to sleep listening to this book. So you have the topic, book 1, on grammar, rhetoric, dialect, mathematics, music, astronomy, medicine, laws, times, books, ecclesiastical offices, God, angels, and saints. Just from the beginning of it, he starts off teaching us about communication. All right, so I know that there's a lot of smart people out there, and very intelligent people, better than smart. I wanted to share this with you. It's not good just to be smart. All right, so here you go. There's that. Pray that helps. All right. In the time frame of Shem, when we're looking at the word Shem, right? When we say that Abjed is a Shemitic language, what does that mean? Abjed is a Shemitic language because it comes from the man Shem. Look at this. Shem, in the second year of the flood, when he was 100 years old, bore a Faxad, from whom the people, the Chaldeans, arose. The Chaldeans, I love that word. This Shem is reported to have been Melchizedek, who was the first after the flood to build the city of Salem, which is now called Jerusalem or Yerushalayim or Yasharallah, right? Now, some of you may have never considered that, that Melchizedek was Shem, and I think it's cool to hear. I apologize. I think it's cool to hear. I think it's cool to read. I think it's cool to maybe see for the first time that Melchizedek was who? Was Shem. What? Have you ever thought about that? Now, the point of saying such as to say is that what? That Shemitic languages, all right? The man said, oh, okay, hold on, my elder back. Do we need vowels? Do we need Hebrew? We need, let's say we need to speak Paleo Hebrew. Oh, yeah, we need to speak Paleo. That's right. Yeah, I think that's so funny. That's so funny. No, we don't need them. No, we don't need them. Not for us to be able to communicate or for others to be able to know what we're saying. So absolutely not, my Lord. Absolutely not, my elder. Thank for showing all your pictures too, for sharing your travels, your ministry. I look forward to hearing from you. All right, here how things went. All right. So look at this. Shem, after the second year of the flood, when he was 100 years old, what happened? When he was 100 years old, all right. Let me see if I can. Boom, this might be better. Yeah, there we go. We can see better. Shem, when he was in the second year of his life of the flood, when he was 100 years old, he bore a Faxad, from whom the people of the Chaldeans arose. Now, I want to look at that real quick. Let's look at the Chaldeans, all right? And the reason being is because that's important. And then we see this real quick that, these Melchizedek who built Salem. But let's look at this real quick as far as the Chaldeans, all right? And also the Shemitic, all right? Because we're so much more than just Hebrew Israelites, all right? We're actually called Syrians, all right? Armene, we're the original Armene people, all right? We are the raised ones, all right? Shem, Syrian, what's this? Aramya. All right, why do I say that we are these original people? Because here's a prayer that we are supposed to say, all right? All right. Thus shalt thou say, this is Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 5. Thus shalt speak and say before Yahweh the Elohim. Look at this. This is what we're supposed to say. A Syrian ready to perish was my father, right? And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with the few and became there a great nation, mighty and populous. So just because we lived, our father Abraham, just because he lived amongst the people who spoke the other dialects, I heard that brother Zion Lex say that Hebrew came from, I think he said Hebrew derived from one of the, no, it didn't. It's a language of its own. Just because we lived in the land of the people that spoke with those vowels, even if them vowels existed at that time, doesn't mean that LashaWan Qwadash spoke that pronunciation. And our father, Ibar, Eber, who held fast the LashaWan Qwadash of the original tongue with consonants primarily, which was an Abjed language. Like, I don't know, like Sashi, man, I know you speak a couple languages. I know you really like a doctor. Like, you secretly like a doctor for real. And, I know your family is really like prestige and really wealthy. You just really be humble. So, but I know you know a lot of things. How many languages do you speak? Will you please type the names of the languages you speak in here? You know why? Because I'm going to find out if the languages that you speak are Abjed languages or not. You shouldn't say that LashaWan Qwadash is not real or it's not a holy language. That's terrible. All right? Look at this. This is the book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 6. These people are descendants of the Chaldeans. When we're thinking about the Shemitic language, the Syrian people, the Chaldeans, we're thinking about us, the Hebrew Israelites. Our language is so much more, so much deeper than just, somebody coming along and saying, your language don't exist. Yes, it do. Our language very much does exist. All right. Look at this. For which doctrine, when the Chaldeans and other people in Mesopotamia raised a tumult against him, he thought fit to leave that country, and at the command and the assistance of God, of Allah Yahweh, he came to live in the land of Canaan. This is talking about our father Abraham. Our father was a Chaldean. We came from the land of the Chaldeans. My father was a Syrian ready to perish. This science came from, this knowledge, the knowledge of all of these heavenly bodies. The Most High, he gave that science to us, to us from our father. Let's start up here. For which reason, Abraham, he began to have a higher notion of virtue than others had, and he determined to renew and to change the opinion of all men, that all men happened to have concerning God. For he was the first to venture in and to publish this notion that there was but one God, the creator of the universe, and that all other gods, if they contributed anything to the happiness of men. So he's not saying that there were no other powers up under the Most High. He's just saying that, that each of them afforded it only according to his appointment and not by their own power. This, his opinion, was derived from the irregular phenomena that were both at land and sea, and those that happened to the sun and moon and all the heavenly bodies. Thus, said he, if the bodies had power of their own, they would certainly take care of their own regular motions. But since they do not observe such regularity, they make it plain that it is so far as they cooperate to our advantage. They do it not of their own abilities, but as if they are subservient to him that commands them, to whom alone we ought to justly offer our honor and thanksgiving. So, for which doctrines these Chaldeans and other people in Mesopotamia raised a tumult against him? Why? Because the people of the land believed in worshiping everything. Sun, moon, stars, Anunnaki, the Epic of Gilgamesh, all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Abraham was the only one who was like, La Yahweh Echad. Abraham was like, look, the sun comes up to a couple hours. Okay, but the sun go down. And then here come the moon, and then the moon, she come up and everything is cool. And the sun will never overtake the moon. The moon will never take, here comes the sun again. So Abraham, sunrise, east, west, and west. So Abraham recognized that everything was in order and concordance to something, and that something had to be one true power, Yahweh. See? So look at this. So saying again that we are so much more than just so-called Hebrew Israelites. You need to start calling yourself a Chaldean. Berosus mentioned our father. Berosus was a historian. Okay, you don't know who Berosus is? He was a historian. So go and look up the historian Berosus, right? And look at what historian Berosus says. Berosus mentions our father Abraham without naming him when he says thus. In the 10th generation of the flood, hold that thought. In the what generation of the flood? In the what generation of the flood? Look at this over here. In the 10th generation of the flood. All right. Check this out. First age of the world. This book is called Isidore of Seville Chronicon. This is a 2004 English translation, but it doesn't mean that this book was done in 2004. This is the first. This is a first age book. You know, this is an old school book. Okay. Now, all I want to say is the scripture says, "Ask thy fathers, never show that elders never tell thee." I like to find out older things if I can and use those information. So this is the 2004 translation, so it's easy to understand. All right. So without reading all that, look at this. First age of the world. Yahweh created everything in 6 days. I'm just skimming down. Adam at the age of 230 bore Seth. All right. Kenan at the age of 170 bore Mahalalel. Enoch at the age of 165 bore Methuselah. Now hold on. Look at that. The second age of the world. Shem in the second year after the flood, when he was 100 years old, bore Faxad. Look at this. Terah at the age of 70 bore Abraham. Does this sound familiar? You know why this sounds familiar? Because Genesis chapter 10, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. That's why it sounds familiar. Because what you're reading is the table of nations from Genesis chapter 10. So first age of the world, the writer, the author, whose name is Isidore. All right. The first age of the world, he went through the Most High and creation and those first elders that came during the time frame of Noah, right? And then after that, he says, this is the second age of the world. So watch this. This book is phenomenal because it goes down and it shows you the history of not only us, but Gentiles that actually lived in the land, like Hercules. I looked this up. I said, Hercules? Now, at first, my childish mind, I really did think about but you actually find out that these people were us in the West. We know so little, and as we pray for you in the East, pray for us in the West, because I believe a lot of us, saying we're gonna have to be victims of what what the Father's judgment is coming up next. With all the violence, So pray for us, and we'll continue to pray for you. All right, all right. So you find out that these are real historical events that have been documented, right? And it's not just the Israelite perspective. This book actually shows you what Gentiles were doing in the world. Look at this. David ruled for 40 years. Claudius, king of Athens, was killed as he voluntarily offered himself to the enemy for the well-being of his country. And Carthage was buried by Dido with Gath, Nathan, and Asphat prophesying in Judea. I'm sorry, what? Did you miss that, Jewel? Asphat prophesying in Judea, along with Nathan and Gad. Wait a minute. During the time that David was ruling 40 years, there was a prophet named Gad, Nathan, Asphat. Is that the book that's called the Gad the Seer? Is that book? This is why I like to study antiquities, because it'll show you so much. So with that being said, that's the fourth age of the world. It's the fifth age of the world. There's so much information. That's the sixth age of the world, right? Now, hold on. That's it. We're living in the seventh age of the world now. It's almost over, baby. This, as far as I know, what age of the world are we living in now? The 42nd? Who knows? The seventh age? How many ages will it be? This book is phenomenal because it catches you up from past events to the beginning of languages, to be able to show you what you're looking at is validated, to be able to show you or to be able to prove to you that the things for the past are true. And this is why we go to older information. This is why
Star Wars or or Star Trek
This is why.
fans we have out there. But there was an
Yeah,
episode.
not Star Wars, Star Trek. Oh, my
There's
bad, Zaquan.
the crew
No.
members. It's a black guy. He had a weapon. He was training on the ship. The weapon looked like this. It had a blade on each side like that, and he would grip it on the inside
Ooh-wee.
like that, and he was fighting with it like this.
Like, how's it going?
That was his weapon. That's what he trained with.
All right. So I'll praise most. I actually looked this up, and it was not only a weapon, but it was also a farming tool. So a weapon, a farming tool, and today modern day ninjas, they use sickles and scythes, and and yes, we did. And I don't know exactly what they look like, and I think the elder, he gave a great example because he taught us how to look for something different. The point of saying such is to say this is why we go to older information, because you actually find out that these things are true. You find out that these things are accurate. You find out these things have always been here, and that's why I titled this video, it's an Abjed thing. It's an Abjed thing because Abjed is a language. It is a form of the language family that's used without using vowels, all right? Without using A-I-O-U, sometimes Y. It just is, all right? So with that being said, I'm going to get ready to rest for the Shabbat. I pray that you all learn your LashaWan Qwadash. I pray that you learn your metries lecciones. So learn your vowels. Learn them in modern Hebrew. You're going to have to learn them because you're going to have to read the stop signs. You're going to have to read you're going to have to read, the which way to get to your highway exit. You're going to have to learn them. And if nobody ever told you, let me tell you, man, King Solomon said, be ignorant of no thing. It's not hard to learn these things. I don't think that we should personally, say that, I heard the brother Zion Lake say that, LashaWan Qwadash was made up by the guys at One West, the elders at One West, the elders at One West. And that's just not accurate. It's not, and I pray that this helps to prove just that one small point. All right, LashaWan Qwadash again, just like, and I want to see what Sashi said, pretty much the same accent. All right, boom. I want you to bring up the old Tamil and see Abjed, ancient square. Whoa! Ancient Tamil script square language. Hold on, let me go back. Whoa! Whoa, Banyarak, whoa, you are the coldest. All right, so we see right here it says the ancient Tamil script, particularly is in its earliest form, is known as Tamil Brahmi, Hallelujah, or Tazamil, Tamizil. I think that's an H on the end. I don't know. Tamizil. All right, but I feel confident with Tamil Brahmi, I think so. All right, which is used to write the old Tamil between the 3rd century BCE and the 1st century CE, which is a variant of Brahmi script adapted from the Proto-Semitic requirements from the Dravidian Tamil language. You can't make this stuff up. Here are key details regarding the square or early Tamil scripts based on your inquiry. All right. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Oldest evidence date back to 5. Man, you know what? When I tell people about Ishmael and I tell people about the language that the Arabs speak, it is nowhere near as old as our brothers and our sisters that grew up in India, man. Man, look at this, man. I haven't even seen anything yet. So this brother, Qwadash Banyarak, he just put us on a good path to give us something to look at, to show us, man. You know what? The issue is that I've always seen it in just these scripts. Why haven't I just taken time to write them down and learn them? Like the LashaWan Qwadash. So, history of Tamil, I think I want to look at this one. I think I want to see this one. All right, I got to shut it down. All right. Evolution of Tamil. All right, let's see. All right. Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. That looks like something Mazaquan, my elder, would have did. That was like something Zaquan Qwadash would have made. You know what I'm saying? But Mazaquan Banyarak, Mazaquan Sashi would make now. All right. So is this, how many characters are there? So, oh, so here's the pronunciation at the top. All right, so how many is that? So that's 1, 2. Wait, is that a vowel? I need you to show me. Banyarak, I need you to show me. All right, so here's the century. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I see variations, you know what I'm saying, of Shemitic connections, you know, very much so. Oh man, this is so beautiful. And this is exactly what I would do. I would go back and as a babe, I would learn this, you know, the earliest century BC. And this is what a lot of us do. We learn the LashaWan Qadash, the Paleo Hebrew, the earliest century, and then we come down and then we learn the modern, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what our brother, oh man, that's beautiful. What's it like having this scroll? All right. All right, throw out a Banyarak. All right, please put picture up in video. Oh no! Oh no, I didn't have it up. Oh no! Oh, throw out a Banyarak, man. All right, let me see if I can fix it. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, Thawada. All right, so boom. So we see it. This is what our brother Banyarak Awar. Though, so this is what our brothers brought out for us, and so I'm reading from this from right to left. Now, correct me if I'm if I'm wrong, but each corresponding character is a sound at the top, like na ra la va la. Ooh, but there'll be different. Oh, so there'll be different ones because here are now. Let me ask you a question: would these be vowel points at the bottom? All right, and the reason why I'm asking is the brother that we're referring to. He speaks multiple languages, many look like Hebrew characters. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What I'm saying, and that's something that that we have to confess is that if somebody says that LashaWan Qwadash or Paleo Hebrew is not a real language, and we can see that in the most ancient Tamil, and then we come over here, and we see the same thing. Here, this is a history of the Tamil chart, but this image that we're looking at right here is Paleo Hebrew. All right. So we've seen that an Abjed language is what? An Abjed language is primarily a Shemitic tongues, like Arabic, Hebrew, and Aramaic, plus others using their scripts. All right, their writing system writing systems mainly are vowels. Shows consonants. All right, so this is the same thing for not only LashaWan but for the Arabic, but also for the language that our brothers Bunny Rock speaks. She's winning. I gotta put her to bed. All right, I had fun. I want to tell everybody, Power Parts Wab. And if you're up right now for the Shabbat, Boker Tov, if you're starting your class, send me a link. All right. I had fun talking about it. I pray we'll get to build again later. Shalom.